Hello, everyone. Happy holidays and welcome to USA Global TV and Radio. I'm Dr. JACALYN KERBECK. I'm the president, founder, and chief listening officer here at our network, where we celebrate elevated listeners. Our show today is The Power of Etiquette and Manners. We have a very special show for you. I'm excited to bring out the star of our show and our guest. But before I do, I just want to announce, if you're following me on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, please help me celebrate and congratulate our team members, our guests, our sponsors who are going to be receiving and have been receiving awards for their incredible contributions. There are some new awards that are coming up that involve this show in particular, which I'm not going to spill the beans yet. So look for an announcement coming later today. All right, let's welcome Mr. Philip Sykes, who has two incredible people with him, and he's on a beautiful island. Let's find out what he's up to. Hello there.
Dr. JACALYN, as always, it's PRIYA, and it's just a joy to be here with you, as always, and with two amazing people that I've had the privilege of getting to know and working with. And we are here to engage and connect with you and your wonderful audience.
Philip, I'm always excited to see you, and I just love what you're doing as the principal and founder of the British School of Excellence. And for people who are wondering, is that a green screen background behind you? You're actually on an island somewhere about to have some cocktails. I love it. Tell us more.
Look at this. We're on an island. We're all the way over in Mauritius. I have wonderful PRIYA.
Hello.
The way from the mid part of the island, is that correct?
Correct.
And JAVED also from the same area, and we're on the southwestern coastline in a place called Black River, as the French say, River Noir, Black River in Mauritius, and it's just the most beautiful island off the African coastline.
And those drinks look beautiful as well. What do you have there?
I have no idea. We've yet to take a sip. If you see us fall off the bar stool, you know it's strong.
Fantastic. I love doing this show. Enjoy your drinks. So today we are going to be talking about etiquette and manners, as we always do. And I think something that's so important, we actually had a program right before this one, the Fashion, Travel, and Fitness show, and our guest was in Italy, talking about when you travel to other cultures, when you're going to meet with people who live there in that country, and how to treat them, how to greet them, things that we need to know. So tell us a little bit about etiquette and manners when traveling.
Dr. JACALYN, that is such a great question, because coming to we lost. Can you hear us?
Yes, we can hear you. We hear you, yes.
Can you hear us, Dr. JACALYN?
Yes.
So I think we lost the wire moments there.
Oh, we can hear you now.
Your question was very much around traveling to different countries and respecting the wonderful people of that country. Is that correct?
Yes, it is. There seems to be a delay. This always happens, I guess, periodically. Well, let's remove them for the moment and when they come back. So when you travel to another country, what you might want to do is speak with someone who's from that country, or speak with someone who's an expert about that country, or speak to someone who has expertise and knowledge in the travel industry. Because the last thing that you want to do is show up and disrespect someone. I know when I went to France, I spoke what I could of French, and people really appreciated it. You could see people opening up, and and really appreciating the fact that I was trying to speak their language as opposed to just speaking English, which many times as Americans, we just expect, oh, everyone speaks English everywhere in the world. And that's not the case. So that's one area that you can consider. Another is, and Philip has mentioned this before, that in certain cultures, you don't actually look someone in the eye. You look in the triangle of the face, maybe here or there, but not in the eye. So it's important to understand about cultures and what people appreciate and what is expected, actually. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that, and also about etiquette and manners during the holidays. Here, we are so close to the Christmas holiday in 2022. And of course, New Year's is coming up, and a lot of us may or may not be making resolutions. But when you get together with people for the holidays, there are always some tense moments going to the event or during the event or afterwards. And so we need to be really cognizant of how we're showing up, whether we're traveling or we're going to somebody locally for the holidays. Let's bring back our guests as they are back with us. Hello.
A warm welcome again. Hello. Sorry, we got lost there. Were you asking very much about the importance of, etiquette and manners when you show up in someone else's country?
Yes, and I was just sharing with people that you've told us before that some cultures, they don't like you to look in the eyes. It's that triangle, and then also what the customs are in different countries. And then also, if you could talk about going to someone's home for the holidays and some of the etiquette and manners that we need to be aware of there.
Well, I think coming here, I think it's a very strong French Mauritian culture, right? So what would you, Priya, say about showing up in your wonderful country?
It's mostly about the warmth and the hospitality here. Manners are universal, and etiquette is more like contextual. But Mauritius has got a mix, like a blend of British culture, French culture. It's like a melting pot of cultures. So we've adopted etiquettes from around the world. And here it's more about the warmth of the people, not really sticking to etiquette. Is not such a thing here, or like it is when like table manners, simple etiquette. But as such, when showing up to someone's place, I think around the world, it's almost the same, like calling the person to know that you can make it or not. But it hasn't been the case always. People show to anybody's place, like relatives, you don't need to ask before coming because it's like your own people. So you show up at their doorstep and they'll welcome you like warmly. There's no need to ask or give a phone call before showing up. It's just like for New Year's, for example, you go and wish Happy New Year to everybody, like your neighbors. So you don't need to call them. You just show up at their doorstep, and there we go, Happy New Year. And they'll invite you over for drinks and snacks.
Wonderful.
It's like a global village, and then it's how we bond with each other.
Isn't that just wonderful? What would you add to that?
I mean, I'm just adding to what Priya is saying. I mean, compared to the rest of the world, etiquette is not the onus on the people who are actually going to the place, but it's more the burden of the person who's actually hosting. Someone comes to your doorstep, you are expected to treat them properly. You're expected to ask her for food, for drinks, sit down, relax, and it's the other way around. Obviously, that's for the people, but when it comes to more corporate, obviously, it's more in line with whatever happens to the world. But for the island itself, it's like we're all family. I mean, come over.
Come over.
It's just isn't that just wonderful? And I think we could learn so much from these amazing smaller communities in this world. And believe it or not, Mauritius, I think, as a country goes, is very much regarded as in the top 6 of the safest, most wonderful countries to live in. Because it has got multicultural influence from Muslim, from Hindu, from Christian, from Asia. There's a huge melting pot, Chinese, and it just seems to work. Correct?
It does.
It does. And we are here at this amazing venue, and just when JAVED and Priya met, they come from the same area. yet they hadn't met before, but there was almost an instant connection, which was so special. and something that was so touching for me, Priya had made some beautiful handmade, what special, what do they call it?
Vermicelli laddu.
Laddu,
like,
which is what?
Laddu is mostly an Indian origin kind of round thing. But mine was customized with vermicelli, so it's a vermicelli laddu.
It's
like
cooked
balls.
with milk and ghee and,
Yes.
and butter, so and spices, some spices.
Yeah,
as
cardamom.
Well. Cardamom.
And nuts.
I'm salivating. And then JAVED knew, he sent me a message a while ago. He said, "Are you a chili fan?" I said, "Love chili." He says his body gets nervous because he doesn't, because he loves chili as well. And he's arrived with 3 different bottles of chili, level 1, 2, and 3. So if I'm not here next week, you'll understand why. We can just blame JAVED about me taking off to the moon.
You know, it's interesting, as we've been watching you, the sun appears to have set and now evening is setting in.
It is absolutely setting in. So at the moment, we are 4 hours ahead of the United Kingdom. So in other words, we are 9 hours ahead of you, Dr. JACALYN. 9 hours. Can you believe that?
No, I can't believe it. The technology, it's absolutely incredible. So both of you are graduates of the Train the Trainer program. And from my understanding, each of you had a different idea of what you would be doing with your career. And now that you've been able to graduate, you've embraced etiquette and manners into your career. Tell us more about this.
Priya, over to you. Let's give you the opportunity as ladies first.
Okay. So I was in a junction. That was during the pandemic, right?
Yes. That
we connected. And I was trying to figure out what I do with my life and where I would be heading. At that point in time, I think I just finished my MBA program from the University of Monaco. And then I was thinking of shifting to China. Actually, my first vision was opening an etiquette school in China, in Guilin. And that would have helped me to learn more Mandarin. I do speak Mandarin, but a little, like level 3. That's not a lot, but I do love languages. I'm a very linguistic person. So that would have helped me to speak Chinese properly, and then at the same time sharing the skills of etiquette with the Chinese people. That was my first vision. But then as COVID creeped in, the vision has shifted. And I thought, why not making an etiquette school in Mauritius itself? That's where I started looking for etiquette schools online. And I got blessed by the British School of Etiquette because Philip is such a wonderful, he's very much of a people's person. He made us feel at ease and at home on screen. And he's such a vibrant person. He exudes so much warmth. And I could feel a sense of belonging already. When I was on those 5-day course, it was as if a family was getting together. And from then on, though plans shifted, I got the chance to work with kids doing communication skills and public speaking eventually. And then I thought, why not give them a mix of etiquette and communication skills? Because kids are the ones who really need the basics of etiquette to be able to flourish into complete and well-groomed human beings and be able to, of course, make their parents proud, have fine manners they've got. And that was a chance for me to share my knowledge with them and bring etiquette with their speaking skills. And that's on the road I'm up to for the time being.
What a beautiful journey. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I love the pure joy in your face. And Philip, every time people are just talking about how you have changed their lives, you're so down to earth. You're really the ultimate polished professional. And at the same time, you're just so heart-centric and easy to speak with.
Thank you. That's really touching.
It's a joy. And as you always say, you and I both, Dr. JACALYN, are always overly amazed at the level and quality of people that walk through the door. It goes without saying, it's top level. And, you know, we're just scratching the surface with all these amazing professionals who have been on that journey. So it's fascinating. And it's just so beautiful to see how I've always used that term like an orchid, or what do you call these flowers?
Hibiscus.
Hmm?
Hibiscus.
It's hibiscus, right?
Yes.
The beautiful hibiscus flower, which we've got here in our cocktail. That closes up at night, right? When it gets cool, and then it opens up in the day. And this is what this opportunity is all about. It really and truly is. And I would love to give Javed's view on your journey and where you are right now in your life.
My life has been very corporate life. Spent 20 years with businesses and helping businesses rebrand or revitalize businesses, basically companies that have been around and doing the same things with the same outcomes. And I've realized that most of the leaders and executives, even if they were very, very good technically, but there was something there that needed to be polished. And I have come across several events or incidents where big deals didn't go through because something somewhere happened, and the other party was not just too comfortable to pursue the conversation, because in terms of etiquette or manners, they were just not aligned. If I may, I just share that trigger that pushed me to say, okay, I need to get trained in etiquette so that I can impart whatever knowledge to other people. There was one gentleman who was the chairman of a reasonably decent company, and he was on the point of signing off a big deal. I mean decent deal, about $25 million deal. And all his team had been working on that deal, and it was almost there. But then obviously, sorry, it was they were invited over for dinner, and the deal was supposed to be signed after that dinner. And the gentleman they were serving seafood, and the gentleman got a tiger prawn, which is about this big. And I was sitting I was at that dinner, and I was telling myself, you know what, we've put in so much effort in this exercise. It took us 6 months, right?
Negotiate.
And I was, in marketing we have something called the self-fulfilling prophecy. The more you tell a person, okay, don't do this, otherwise you'll become something. And then I was telling myself, hey, don't do this. and I was praying that he would at least, even if he didn't know how to eat that tiger prawn, just push it aside and just eat the vegetables. And he didn't. I thought he was a bit too excited to see that tiger prawn. And I can tell you, he put the whole thing in his mouth.
No.
Oh no.
I'm not joking. And you had all these things coming out of his mouth. And I was like, oh my God, he's going to kill the deal. He's going to kill the deal. And he did kill it.
Oh my hat.
Oh my gosh.
And this is where that was 2 years ago, just before the COVID. And I was like, okay, there's something in there, even if people who are very good technically. I mean, you have these smart people who've gone to these top universities, who've spent so much time trying to build a business from scratch. But when it comes to to that next level, there's something, because they haven't been trained. They are just smart people to run a business. They know how to make money. They know they've got lots of money. They've got people working for them, but they are in control. But when it comes to other people, when it comes to people who are, at the same level, and business deals discussions are at a different level, and all these different simple things can either make or break, and most often it does break. And this is why I thought they need some kind of help. And unfortunately, I mean, for us in Mauritius, because formal British etiquette has not been too much, it's not too much present. It's not instilled in the culture.
Yeah.
Because from an island, it's a very relaxed mindset.
Laid back.
I mean, very laid back mindset. I mean, you drop something, it's okay. I mean, life it does things do happen, but that's from a lifestyle point of view, from a very social point of view. But when it goes to that next level, when it involves business, when it leads to business decisions, then you're expected to to follow certain rules. And I think this is where I thought, and it was not that first person. There were so many people. This is why I became very mindful about this. I started looking around, and I became very critical. So in fact, I did started with a checklist to see how many clients were actually, very proficient in proper etiquette, and most weren't. Most were not. Even I've got clients in Mauritius, but also in many countries, and most were not. And I said, okay, this is where it's not working.
Disconnect.
There's a disconnect, and obviously it does impact on the businesses. So basically, just to round it off, this is why I said, okay, there's no school for etiquette. There's no one who is actually trained to do that. Those people who are aware are hidden somewhere in-house in a couple of companies or not. And this is where I think if I may, let me get trained into that and let me help these people. And this is where I started. Okay, it took me a year because COVID came. And then I started looking around. It took me a year to bump into this British School of Etiquette. And I must tell you, that was the best decision I took in my life. You don't learn too many things, but you learn the right things. You learn
what a fabulous story. I can just say, being in corporate for almost all my career, and all those dinners that I attended, that people make major faux pas. They don't think anyone's watching their behavior as their food is coming out of their mouth and they're slurping. There's all these things that people do, and yet somebody is watching because somebody has etiquette and manners and thinks to themselves, these people are going to be extensions of me, of my business, of my brand. And I love the initiative that you took after watching this disruptive behavior and deciding you were going to do something about it. And a question I have for you, I think it's important for everybody who attends business dinners. There are some questions that I have I would love for the three of you to address. So the first is, you are a guest of someone who has a budget for entertainment, and they've invited you for a business dinner. Should you order the most expensive food on the plate, on the menu? Should you order every course? Should you order an expensive bottle of wine? What are your thoughts on this?
Just go for gold. Go big or go home, Dr. Jacqueline. Just smash it. Do it. All blazing. Go for the filet mignon. Go for that Chateau Neuf. Hit it hard. I think, and I think, just if I may, be respectful. You don't necessarily need to go for the cheapest meal on the menu, but just be respectful, be mindful. And I think one of the rules of engagement around the business dinner at a restaurant is to sort of find out through small talk what catches their eye, what tickles their fancy. Chat to the host, say what do you feel for? Is there anything you recommend? And take some guidance and steering from your fellow sort of members at the table, and then try and stick within reason on the order front. And I know this is very sort of, there's a big divide. You get these huge corporate lunches or dinners that money's no object, so to speak. There's a budget, and they can throw the budget, everything at the budget. But there are those medium to small companies where they're watching the pennies, but the lunch or the dinner is really important. But that's where we need to be vigilant. Would you agree?
Totally in that way.
Yeah, I think that's it. And again, this is exactly where, just as both JAVED and PRIYA were alluding to, you said so, Dr. Jacqueline, is you never know who's observing, and you're always under observation whether you like it or not.
And if I may add, Dr. Jacqueline,
Please.
Go ahead.
It would be like very wise when doing your choices not to take things like the tiger prawns, like if you don't know how to handle them. So you better go for something which is decent and you know how to handle already. So that would be the way to go.
Great guidance. Wonderful.
How does one handle eating a tiger prawn or something that when you break maybe a lobster and it kind of sprays on people? What is the appropriate way to eat that?
If we had a chef available, I'd ask him to prepare one for us. Wouldn't that be nice?
To go with your cocktails.
From my experience, I would always hold the tail end, and with my fork, take the flesh out. In other words, the flesh moving toward the head of the prawn. That's what I would suggest. Or even, if it's crayfish or lobster. And if it hasn't, look, a good chef will inevitably remove the flesh from the tiger prawn or from the lobster or crayfish in a decent fine restaurant. If they haven't, literally just hold the end of the tail, take your fork and lift the flesh out. But if it's properly cooked, it'll peel away from the shell and just move it toward the head. Then, as Javed suggested, just pop the knife there and use your knife and fork to eat the flesh of the tiger prawn or the crayfish or lobster.
Should you use your napkin as a shield?
Most restaurants, funny, I don't know if it happens here in Mauritius, but the places I've been exposed to, they tend to bring you an apron or a bib.
True.
I don't know if you experienced that yet.
Not really Mauritius.
No.
But around the world.
Around the world, yeah. I mean, I would hold a napkin here to stop. I mean, Javed, I'm more casual, but Javed's wearing a beard, and these amazing guests are wearing fine clothing. I wouldn't want to ruin my top anyway, which is out of interest from South Carolina. I've just got to share that with everyone. Isle of Palms. You can see the Isle of Palms logo over there. So we're in different countries. But yeah, I think I would hold my napkin up here if I was not trying to splash. But yeah, I wouldn't be too concerned. I'd keep my napkin on my lap. But hopefully there's not much splashing of juices. I think spaghetti bolognese or spaghetti tomato spaghetti, then that's a different ballgame.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
A follow-up question that I have, again, just centered around a business dinner, is should the conversation start off about the deal, or is it let's have some small talk, let me get to know you? Some people are going to be focused on, are we getting the deal or not? And they might want to go right into it with that big fillet and that big drink, whatever. But what are your thoughts? What's the appropriate way to handle that?
Well, I don't know if it's the right or the wrong answer, but from my experience, most people who went straight into serious business talk, they killed those deals.
Mm.
Because at some stage, different cultures, Mauritius, my experience in Mauritius, in East Africa, and even in Middle East, when they take you for dinner, most often the discussions about the deal has already happened, and it's just like to sublimate, to make it sublime, just to the cherry on the cake. That's the dinner, and obviously it's like the last straw to say whether technically, financially, everything is set. Most probably it's there, but in terms of interpersonal relationship, is it going to work? In terms of not really etiquette, but they need to. People think whether in terms of socially, are they going to connect? Business-wise, they can connect. Financially, they can connect, but can they connect socially? And they wait for that last cherry on the top. And if that doesn't connect, many these deals do get don't go through.
Mm.
And second thing is how fast. Whether it's not how fast, is whether you need to bring up any business subjects during a deal, during a dinner anyway. Obviously, there is just a dinner when you are meeting the first person for the first time and you're raising the question of deal for the first time. That's okay. At some stage, you're expected during over dinner that subject will be taken up. But if it's a subject that has already been discussed before that dinner, I wouldn't recommend.
I wouldn't recommend. Yeah, it's just small talk, right? It's that building that rapport, building that trust, and building that connection, just to assess this incredible ability to connect on a social level. And again, I think this, from my experience, it forms a platform of trust, because as JAVED just said, and PRIYA 100% is nodding her head in agreement, the fact that there's a business opportunity there, there's a deal that's been put together, there's an opportunity for them to work together, but working together doesn't necessarily mean that we connect, right? And there will be maybe a falling out because of a personality disagreement, or someone doesn't connect on that level. So Dr. JACALYN, that small talk, and it's not just small talk, this is all, as we always call it, big talk. It's connecting, and it's building those groundworks.
Brilliant. Thank you all. A follow-up question to that is, how personal do we get? So we're trying to connect and we want to get to know each other, but where do we draw the line in terms of the questions that we're asking that you might feel uncomfortable? So I can say to you, oh, I understand that you live here, or I understand you're married, or you have children, but then from that surface level, how deep do we go?
I can try on that one.
Let PRIYA go for gold on this one.
It's better to play safe. So no politics, no religion. For women especially, never to ask, like, are you married or not married? We never get too personal. We usually talk about general things, like how things, we mostly talk about hobbies, what do you like? Are you liking the food maybe? We talk about the menu. We try to make small conversations around general like happenings, if it's
not to offend.
Not to offend.
You don't want to put yourself in a point or a situation where you overstep the mark. And I think this is where alcohol can play a major negative part in any sort of business luncheon or dinner. Is once you've had one too many, what do they say in French? Loose lips. Then what's it?
Slip of the tongue?
Yes. But
they sink ships.
Yeah, all of a sudden, the more you consume alcohol, then you get looser lips, and you start to just blah, 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 and you start to become brave, or you feel like a bit bulletproof. And that can only put you in a very, very awful predicament. And I'm sure all of us could share a story along the lines of where someone's put their foot in it because they've overstepped the mark, or they've said something that they thought was funny, but actually had very serious sort of innuendos, but not meaning it like that, but it's just come out the wrong way.
Yeah, I think you bring up another good point, which is that we don't know what's going to offend someone else, especially when we're meeting with people from different cultures, and what we might think is really hilarious is actually offensive.
Absolutely. What were you going to share?
If I may, Dr. JACALYN, I think whether it was prior to COVID or during COVID, I think people are a bit less sensitive to what other people are thinking or how they react. And obviously, as much as we try to remain rigid and focus, but we are all humans. I mean, we are social animals, and relationships are built not on while walking on eggs, but there is and not an effort, but you take a risk. Sometimes you take a calculated risk. Said, okay, let me try to a bit more personal. And in my opinion, I don't know if Philip would agree with that, but you take a little risk, and if ever there is some kind of response, positive or negative, positive, then obviously you'd get that response from the other party. But if the response is negative, then there is an extent to which you shouldn't go.
You're 100% right. And I think actually just exactly what JAVED, and you hear how both PRIYA and JAVED connect with you, for example, Doctor, if I may interject. So it's again a choice of polished language skills. If I may ask you, JAVED, is this your first marriage? He wouldn't. Is this your first marriage, or if I'm, for example, crumbs, zip, yeah. But hypothetically, so you've got to be careful about the questions you're asking, but using polished language skills that don't come across as intrusive or sort of very direct can really make a difference as well.
Thank you. And if you find looking at someone's body language, they seem to obviously Do you apologize? Do you keep going down that line of questioning, or do you just change the subject?
Change the subject, move on, and don't even apologize, because we can apologize once, then move on. Don't keep apologizing. I'm so sorry, Archie. I'm so sorry. And bringing it back up. Just say, I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to overstep the mark. Tell me about your latest holiday, or what are your hobbies, or what do you enjoy doing outside work? Then you shift the subject and you move in a different direction.
Excellent. Good direction.
Go ahead.
Dr. JACALYN,
Yeah, please.
That's when I really think a certain level of emotional intelligence is required. Like your empathy, you put yourself in the shoes of the other person. So how would you have felt at that point in time? So it's very, in every kind of maybe like social gathering, or is it at home, on every level, like certain amount of emotional intelligence is like a prerequisite, I should say, to know where you should step in and where you should step back, and how the other person feel, because feelings are the same whether you are in Mauritius or in US or in China. We're still human beings, and we still feel like, it gets touchy at times, and maybe the circumstances you're living in at that point in time, we're not connecting, but we should maybe more be understanding and empathetic on those levels.
Wonderful. Both wonderful answers. Really wonderful.
Absolutely. Thank you. I'd like to talk a little bit about what's going on in terms of my observations. I can tell just from driving on the road, people are kind of frantic. They're getting more and more anxious as the holidays come closer and closer. And this manifests itself in many ways, whether it's somebody cutting you off on the road or screaming out the window, or this just happened to me. I was at the drive-through of the pharmacy picking up my medicine, and the pharmacist wasn't even there. They weren't there. And the people behind kept blowing the horns, all of them blowing the horns. And I thought, oh my gosh, these people they've got to calm down. But yet we get so nervous because of the holidays. We're going to see someone, we're going to someone's house, we're by ourselves, we don't have anyone to see, we don't have money, but we're expected to give gifts. So what are some things that people can take away when it comes to etiquette and manners? Number one, if you are that person who is teetering on the brink of losing it, or if you're on the other side and you are receiving it. Who wants to take that one?
Who's going to answer that? You the local drivers here.
I'm the last one to ask this question, because I think it's a very normal thing for people not to be able to control their emotions. I mean, sometimes we said, okay, it's very easy to say, okay, you should control your emotions, but it's more easier said than done. And one thing that I learned, which I picked up during the course with Philip, is to slow down. Slow down, meaning that, okay, even if you're talking to people, you're doing whatever you're doing, is to slow down and take care to think of what you're doing, what are the implications are going to be, and whatever you're going to do afterwards. And even if I'm usually very fast moving person. That's for the last couple of weeks I've been working on that. I've been slowing down, and I can tell you my attitude, including at the office, with my clients, with friends, and even on the roads. It's very interesting you've mentioned that. Even on the roads, my attitude has changed as well. So it's not even, yes, it's about etiquette, behaving with people, but one thing is when you learn to slow down, things happen.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree. I love that. What is your input on this?
I really think that the vibe that you exude does reflect on yourself at the end of the day, because by the smile you give, a smile, you're smiling at somebody, it won't be that probable that the other person would like to swear at you, because I've been having those kinds of instances a lot back home, and I can tell you, at times I've been making blunders on the road, and I said, "Oops, sorry." Like I'm really sorry at that time. I'm not like, it's not like a fake apology or anything. And then people say, okay, go. Like, it's also the energy you give to people is the thing that reflects back to you. Of course, it's not always the case, because people like you telling us, being frantic on the road, and then getting, in the heat of the moment, you want to reach the destination, and it's all in the heat of the season, like going for festivities, and then I guess you are the one to control yourself. You try to be the best person that you can give to others, and you can give to yourself, and then we try to deal with others as much as we can.
I love that. No, I love that. And the thing is as well, think about how you will feel at the end when you get to your destination. If you're hooting a horn at someone and you're driving like a maniac, and as Javed said, just slow down. I love it. I love all cultures, and I've been privileged to spend quite a lot of time in Italy. And I've always wondered if the Italians drive like that just because they're going to get an extra espresso at the other end. Because they just sit down there and it's manana, and they're so laid back. But give them a steering wheel and a gearbox. Oh, my hat. You've got to just duck and dive. It's just extraordinary. But going really on a serious note, use your 6-second rule. Slow down and let people into the traffic. It's not going to make one iota difference to you getting there 1 minute late or 1 minute early.
Yeah, absolutely. And I appreciate all of your answers. I think it's also about self-awareness. And just to go back to the example I gave, because I think it's a one that really, for me, was a learning. So it took me 20 minutes to get to that pharmacy. Then I had to wait in line behind other people in the car. Then I got up to the window. And then, of course, when the pharmacist came, they couldn't give me the medication. So the whole thing took about an hour. And as I was about to hit the gas and go, I thought, well, how are you going to deal with this? Are you going to be furious and say, I can't believe I wasted all this time? Or are you going to just say, okay, this didn't work out the way I would have liked it to, but I'm not going to get out of the car and scream at those people. I'm not going to yell at the pharmacist, and I'm not going to drive home angry. But yet so many times that's what people do. They wear their anger like, look at me, I'm angry because it didn't work out the way I wanted. Sorry, it didn't work out. Next time, maybe it will. But I think if we're aware of how we are showing up, and in that same scenario, and I'd love for you to comment on this, had I gotten out of the car and gone to the other drivers and screamed and yelled at them, who knows what could possibly have happened? Someone could have a weapon or follow me home. If I scream and yell at the pharmacist, maybe the pharmacist is going to be so upset that they're not able to do their work properly, count out the number of pills for the next prescription. So everything we do can impact someone that can impact someone else. What are your thoughts?
You summed it up beautifully. I mean, yeah, I think, would you agree with what Dr. Jacqueline was saying?
I mean, perfect. I mean, we discussed last time, some time back, a very wise gentleman shared with me that equation, ERO, E-R-O. E for event, R for response, O for output. Let's put it, if we put it into the same context that we are talking, someone bumped into your car, that's an event. So there's nothing you can change in there. But your response is going to define the output, the outcome, sorry. Response one is you go out and start shouting and you start violent or whatever it is, verbally aggressive. What is the likely outcome that you would expect? Obviously, that other person will react, will respond, and most probably you'll end up with a fight. If you go out, that's for the response one, will have that outcome. If you go out and say, okay, we bumped into each other, accidents do happen.
Yeah.
This is why insurance are there for. Your insurance will take care of your car. My insurance will take care. Whatever the mechanism. At last, as long as no one is injured, everyone is safe. Okay, let's insurance do the bit. As long as we are safe, now we can go there. So the outcome, obviously, that was that person who's listening to you said, okay, the gentleman or whoever came out, that even we did not have any control, but we did have control of response, and the outcome from a verbally aggressive outcome suddenly becomes okay, an okay outcome. And this is why I think this equation, I've tried to implement it in different areas, and it works wonders.
It's a brilliant, it's such a great word. So it's ERO.
ERO.
ERO. I love it. Just phenomenal. And, you know, it's interesting on this note is just before leaving for Mauritius, one obviously hopefully gets a bit of time to go and think about a few gifts to get for loved ones. And I know it's a frantic time, especially this time of year around the world, and people are rushing around last minute shopping. And you tend to find there's a bit of attitude or aggression within their persona, their body language. And I think I posted a video the other day that if you go in with beautiful energy into a store and you greet the doorman and you greet the woman or the gentleman who's going to serve you with gorgeous energy, you pay them a nice compliment. Oh my hat, things start to just happen for you. And I know it because I do it every single time. And it's like, yeah, it's just like this incredible energy, and the reaction is just so wonderful. Generally, 9.9 times out of 10.
Magic.
It's magic.
I love that expression, "Oh my hat." I've never heard that before. That is
My brother
fabulous.
uses it. I think it's a polite way not to swear. Oh my hat.
I'm going to start using that if you don't mind. Oh my hat. Well, oh my hat, we are out of time. We have another show right after this. So I just want to share with our audience that you really are live on location. Some of the noise that you're hearing is from the wind, and that's okay because it's reality. They're outside on a beautiful island. And you also have drinks, but they're mocktails, right?
Yeah, tonight they're mocktails because we just wanted to still speak some form of sense tonight. We wanted to speak a bit of sense too. Hopefully it made some sense. It's just such a joy to have two incredible people in our presence. It really is. It's a privilege of note. They've traveled just over an hour and something to be here all the way across the island. We're in the southwest of the island in Black River, as I mentioned, at this wonderful little location called La Mariposa, which is a beautiful little boutique hotel right on the seashore. And they've been so hospitable to us because, again, with the right sort of energy, I asked the manageress, could she accommodate us? She jumped over hurdles to set up a lovely little stool for each of us and a high table on this amazing rooftop terrace in this incredible environment. So we're blessed all round.
And you know what, Philip, we would love to feature their property. If you want to speak to the manager, they should come on Fashion, Travel, and Fitness so that we can actually have a look at their property there.
Let's do that. That would be such a joy to be able to give them that.
Well, I'm going to highlight the three of you again, and any holiday message, greeting, anything you want to leave our audience with, as well as how people can contact you and who you would like to reach out to you.
Over to you. There we go.
Merry Christmas, everybody. Let's hope 2023 gonna be awesome for you all. May all your goals and loved ones be with you, and let everybody prosper.
And how can people contact you?
Oh, yes. So on my Instagram, it's HPRIYA2709, or maybe through the mail, HPRIYA2709@gmail.com. I'm even on Facebook, Priya Hari.
Priya Hari, yeah.
Thank you so much.
Incredible, amazing young lady.
Thank you.
And I love how you refer to Instagram as the gram. That's my new thing now.
Yeah.
Javed, go ahead.
My wish is very simple. I mean, whatever the stories out there, my belief is we've got only one life, and we should live it in a way that one life should be enough. So let's work towards that and treat each other with manners, with decency. And if we treat each other well, suddenly life becomes totally different, becomes magical. And I do hope after 2 years of COVID, people do want to go out, people do want to connect. So, and people do want to build relationships. And I think with etiquette and proper manners, we could end up building up very meaningful relationships. And this is all the in French, it's tout le mal qu'on vous souhaite. It's all the bad that I can wish you is to build a meaningful relationship.
Mm.
Wonderful. And how can people reach out?
Well, I can be reached on my email. It's JAVED, JAVED at the cerebro cerebro.net. JAVED at the cerebro.net. I'm also on LinkedIn, JAVED BOLAH, BOLAH.
Wonderful, wonderful. And from me and on behalf of both these two incredible people and from the island of Mauritius, just warmth, greetings, love, kindness. Be who you are. Be genuine. Turn up. Be mindful, and really, really make an effort to connect with one another over this festive season. Get rid of your digital technology. Be in the moment and embrace every single moment, and just joy, happiness, and go out there and do a random act of kindness for people, especially in the world the way it is right now. Go out there and just do something unbelievable.
Thank you so much. Before I let you go, I just want to share an announcement. Philip, you have a wonderful team of people who work with you, and I work with one of them on a regular basis, Leanne, and she has joined our team as a certified elevated listener. Leanne, woo! Tell us a little bit
Amazing.
about the work that she does for the British School of Excellence and also for you.
Yeah, Leanne, you know, as I think we've discovered through our conversations personally, that when you put something out into the universe genuinely, and you need or want something to cross your path and make a difference, that is Leanne. Leanne came on board just before COVID to do Train the Trainer, and then went back to Poland, having moved there just before COVID from a warm country. You can imagine how challenging that was. And so Leanne came on board and did Train the Trainer, then to take on the Poland partnership. But there was a bigger picture there. Leanne has come on board as really running operations behind the scenes, connecting with people, reaching out to people. She does so many different things and wears so many different hats in the organization. She is a godsend and a huge blessing in my life, in the business's life, and in other people's lives. She means what she puts her money where her mouth is, and she just gets on with it.
She is highly professional and she's very responsive and she makes things happen. So I'm super excited that she has joined our team. And also, Philip, I will make another announcement. For those of you who are not aware, we have a children's book series, which is through my other business, Dr. JACALYN LLC. And we've released 2 books. And I'm getting to what it has to do with Philip and Leanne. The book covers you see here include animals, and each one of these animals represents a real human being who is a certified elevated listener. So for example, the book that's available right now in paperback and also ebook, The Amazing Adventures of Lady Ella, the Listening Mentor, the ladybug represents me, and it's dedicated to my great niece. Her name is Ella, and the cow is my sister, Debbie Wilson. So each one of these animals represents someone. The second book is available now for pre-order. And the third book is going to feature the British School of Excellence, Philip and Leanne, and some of our other elevated listener team members. So thank you, Philip and Leanne and the British School of Excellence, for everything that you do. And I will announce it now. This show, The Power of Etiquette and Manners, has earned the award of the top TV series on USA Global TV and Radio for 2022. So congratulations to you all there.
Amazing. I've got goosebumps. Wow. It's not down to me. It's down to everyone that comes on the show, and down to you, Dr. JACALYN, and the opportunity and the privilege that we have to be on the show. So that just gives me goosebumps, and all I can say is a huge thank you.
Well, thank you. And you will be getting your certificate soon. And we're having an awards ceremony next month. They haven't announced it yet, but I just really appreciate you and all of the wonderful people, the 2 you have here today, and that you bring to this platform. The work you're doing, what you're putting out into the world, is absolutely so needed and appreciated. So thank you again to each and every one of you.
Dr. JACALYN, let us, on behalf of the 3 of us, have the most wonderful Christmas with your mum and your loved ones. We're thinking of you all the way from almost the other side of the world, and so looking forward to seeing how 2023 unfolds, because I know it's going to be a phenomenal year.
Well, thank you again for taking this journey. And I really am just every Friday, I'm super excited for this show and to see you, Philip, and to meet the wonderful alumni you have. So, JAVED and Priya, thank you again for being here. We'd love to have you join our team as elevated listeners as well. And please order a real drink right now. Go and have some fun.
Thank you.
Next time you should do your show from Mauritius.
From Mauritius, Dr. Jacqueline, on your world tour.
Okay, let's work on that. Thank you again. God bless you and happy holidays. Bye.
Good health, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Chin, chin,
Bye.
chin.
Oh, I just love what I do. It's such a joy. We started our show before this. We were in Italy, now Mauritius, and we're soon going to London. So Authentic Achievements is at a new time for today. That's with Kim Adele Randall. And it worked out well for everyone because we had Juanita Harvin, who was joining us from Italy and was able to meet with us in the last hour. So stay tuned. We'll be right back in the next about 10 minutes because we're running a little bit late, but we look forward to bringing you another wonderful show followed by Talking Heads with Dr. Madeline Chan. And after that, the United Kitchens, Ricky McKenna is on holiday today, our celebrity chef. She'll be back next week. That will be followed by The Listening Mentor with our star, Caroline Heward, and presenting Pet Psychic Amina, starring Pet Psychic Amina. So we'll see you shortly. And again, thank you to each and every one of you who are making this possible by watching our shows, by commenting, by joining our team. I invite each and every one of you to join our team as an elevated listener. I forgot to mention, how do you do that? It's so easy. Take the Power of Listening foundational course. This is actually one course now. It was $257. It's now $39. And what you will learn from this is that we all have room for improvement when it comes to learning how to listen, especially when the holidays come. You can go over to drjacalyn.thinkific.com/collections and just sign up for the course. And maybe a few years ago, had I not worked on my own listening skills, my own self-care, my own etiquette and manners, I might have lost it in that example that I gave with the pharmacy because everybody behind me was losing it. And when you lose it, you don't feel good about yourself. At least that's how I feel. I think to myself, oh my goodness, I can't believe I lost control like that. I feel so upset with myself. You learn how to listen. You learn how not to react. You've seen people have meltdowns, right? We watch it and you just think to yourself, oh my goodness, I'm going to give them grace because obviously they're going through something and they just don't know how to deal with it. We don't want to be those people. So again, go ahead and sign up and join our team. We would love to have you. All right. Thank you again. Happy holidays. We'll be back shortly.